Welcome everybody to the next episode of the Cannabis Review. I'm delighted to be joined in this episode by Julie Hauser, who's the founder and CEO of Flower Farma, based over in America. How are you keeping today, Julie?
Very well, Owen. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted to have you on to talk about all the great things you're getting up to in the worlds of fine dining and cuisine using cannabis-based oils. So do you maybe want to give everybody a quick little 60-second overview of how you started Flower Farma and how you found yourself in this industry?
Oh, sure, of course. So I'm a plant-based chef and a celebrity chef, and I've had several years in the field. In the middle of my journey, I had breast cancer, and I'm 11 years now cancer-free. But in that process, I was stage 3. I've had 18 surgeries since that diagnosis. I'm doing amazing now, and so many things were a part of that journey, but cannabis was huge. And as a chef, I've always worked out my problems in the kitchen. And what I wanted to do was really show people how to use cannabis as an ingredient and build that into your diet for wellness, all the other benefits. And that's how Flower Farma started.
Okay, amazing. So as you said, teaching everybody how to use cannabis in cuisine. Everybody kind of knows the can of butter that a lot of people use and the kind of simpler entry mode for a lot of people. But can you maybe explain how you think I imagine that the future of the industry is going to be blends and formulations that are created either for a clip-on for a chef to be able to have in their kitchen and use at any given time, or as part of a recipe sold in mass manufacturing for consumer packaged goods.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely true. I think when we think back to cannabis cooking, a lot of us still think of the brownies we made when we were in college, and everything's really green, like the can of butter that you're talking about. And I think if we want people to start thinking of cannabis as an ingredient, then we need to change it up and make it more accessible for them. And the line of oils I created does that, and it gives people the opportunity to use their own recipes, get really creative, but use these sort of finishing oils or sauces in a way to complete the meal intentionally, but without adding the super green flavor, if you follow me.
Yeah, I do indeed. And I think there seems to be a massive space in the market that although over in Europe we've got a mishmash of rules when it comes to the novel food application, and the FDA, even in America, are only now coming to kind of draw up rules and conditions where I think you're going to see a hell of a lot of products are going to contain, whether it's CBD, THC, or other cannabinoids that are found, and a combination and a blend of those with terpenes, flavonoids, and other normal natural organic ingredients.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it is actually a huge opportunity, right? For people. I think we have a huge opportunity in this industry to look at this plant in a different way, right? We want people. I think it's not very natural to get together on a Friday night and everybody eat a gummy at the same time. It's whereas if we can get together and commune over a meal, and cannabis is part of that meal, then I think we've created a new experience and a new way for people to get together, right? I think more than ever, the reason why I started Flower Farma was because I feel like there's really a need for people to get together and commune over food. I feel like since the pandemic, we've really lost that connection with each other. And I think cannabis sort of offers this little, in whatever way, shape or form you want to have it, if it's CBD, CBG, THC, all of the cannabinoids, they can add sort of this element of relaxation and a point where we can just leave our politics, our religion at the door, come together over food and just enjoy one another.
Yeah, I definitely think when you look at the broader market, like as much as people love their smoke and their flower and all that kind of stuff, I think the easiest entry point for the mass market and a large consumer base is going to be food. And I can picture in my mind groups of people, either girls in the summer meeting for salads, and there's a sauce range on the table that it's a much more enjoyable experience as a group than, as you said, somebody all saying, okay, let's all eat a gummy now.
Right? 1, 2, 3, go.
Because that's obviously going to hit different with everybody else as well. But at least this way you get to choose how much dressing you're putting on your own individual salad based on your own needs and wants.
100%. Yeah, dosing is actually a whole other, topic that I'm sure we could spend a half hour on, or hour on, but I think it's important because everybody does metabolize it differently, right? And that's sort of part of in the way we design this process, that intentionality needs to go into it.
Yeah, as the more you learn in this industry, whether it's food and consumer packaged goods or whether it's pharmaceutical grade products, it seems to be such a nuanced either consumption method, whatever it is, whether you're a patient or a consumer, that everything's so nuanced down to each individual person. There doesn't seem to be a one size fits all product in the cannabis industry really at all. And I think the sauces and the area that you're in at the moment is kind of that the cruxus point in the industry where everybody can meet in the center.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And part of that, right, is sort of, I think if we want to invite this new demographic, right, that I think we all want to include, then we do need to make it really easy, approachable, a way to teach people to find their dose, find where they're happy, right, and explore the plant in a different way. I remember I was at an event a few months ago, and we're trying to really introduce cannabis into these events, at least here in the United States, where we can, because it feels silly to do all this business over the bar, right? When over cocktails, when we're the cannabis industry. And so we had beverages there, cannabis beverages, and was having a conversation with someone, and I said, I'm just not drinking. I don't feel good. I'm going to have this. And he said, well, I don't know how many of those to have. I know how many of these to have. And he had a glass of tequila. And it's true, right? I mean, we have to create a space and a way where we can find out,
Yeah.
our place with that and offer that to the new demographic that we want to include.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Actually, I'm going to jump on to the next topic, which is cannabis consumption lounges. I know it's something that you basically already have experience in, so it just transitions perfectly into it. Do you see what's let's say the time period in New York? Let's just pick New York for an example, where you'll be able to go out for a brunch or you'll be able to go out for meet up drinks, and it's basically going to be infused food and infused cocktails that don't have any alcohol, or and it's all cannabis based ingredients. How many years away realistically do you think we are from having one of those places?
Well, in the U.S., of course, it varies from state to state, and it's kind of an interesting, challenging situation. And I think that, for example, Las Vegas is probably a little bit ahead of New York in that, sense. I'm definitely not the expert on lounges, but I do know sort of the trajectory of what's happening. And I'd say that Las Vegas already has a couple. The rest of them have just gotten licenses, and it's probably, will be rolling out in the next year. They do have some tough restrictions that they're up against. And again, New York is just the first dispensary just opened the doors in December in New York, right? So we'll be a little further there with the lounges. But I know the intention is, sorry?
Just to clarify, I think I might have got my point mixed up. Yeah, I understand that Arizona and that there's other states that have already got consumption lounges going.
Yeah.
For a major city, there's got to be neighborhoods that actually end up converting into, let's say, full cannabis spaces. So you could have a whole block in Manhattan is kind of just the idea. I don't know other states to give as an example, but in Vegas, I would imagine that it's going to be very touristy central. It's not going to be a regular somebody who lives there's experience that they go for every weekend. Let's say a ladies who brunch, that venue turns into a cannabis type brunch venue.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening within a couple of years? Because we understand there might be one or two pockets, but how long is it until we see there's actually a whole area where people are going to, and that's where they're consuming cannabis via food and via drinks on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think that really will be able to watch that develop in the next 3 to 5 years. Some places I think will be in the next year that they'll have their places. And I think what's important is that we watch these. And here's the thing. I think that when you develop a lounge, we need to consider it can't just be a place to go smoke. Right. I mean, you will always have your people that like their flower and like to vape and want to go smoke. But I think that to capture this new audience, that there needs to be other experiences available, right? And how we get them to stay longer is through their food and through their beverage. And maybe there's music and maybe there's other experiences that will encourage people not only to stay, but to come back again, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that we'll start unrolling in the next few years. I think it's essential to be very mindful of the way we roll it out. I've heard stories down in Hollywood where there are first time users come to the lounges and it's just they get too much and then they just pass out. And I think that being, the lounges, being very mindful of having CBD on board, different ways to bring people back to center is really important. That is something that I do in my infused dinners. I don't know if we're going to talk about that more later. I can talk about it with you if you'd like. But I think it's really important the way we unroll the dosing, right, per each course, per each experience, right?
And so is that like getting onto dosing there? That's obviously a huge factor when it comes to the consumption of cannabis in food. Is there a specific, like a chef's little trick where everybody has their own little expertise when it comes to dosage, or is there a per gram per body weight type metric that people could use?
I think that's a really good question. Something that I do is in my meals, for example, in the events that I produce, is I start out, maybe the mocktail actually has CBG, which will stimulate the appetite. The next course we might introduce a little bit of THC, but follow it up with a CBD round. At the end, we absolutely finish the dessert course with CBD to sort of stabilize everyone. So I kind of do like to take them through. This plant has so many amazing, attributes and cannabinoids. Let's explore them all and use them the way they're intended. And I think if we have those things on board, then we'll get people coming back, right? Because it's very fascinating.
Couldn't agree with you more. Once that dosage gets done right, I think there'll be repeat customers. Before I let you go, we've got a couple of minutes left. I want to move on to your range of oils called Ola, which obviously translate in Irish to oil. Tell us about the reasoning behind the naming, and is there a relatives back in Ireland that you know about?
Well, so I'm 50% Irish. My father, my maiden name is Mulcahy. So I know there's some of us running around there. I haven't been back. I would love to go. My great grandparents are right from Ireland. And I was playing when I was creating this, I don't know, product creation is a whole wild game in itself, but I played around with a lot of words and I just wanted Ola not only is oil in Gaelic, but it also means hi in Spanish, and it all means all these lovely things. And I think it's beautiful. It's right from the plant. I wanted to stay very close to the plant. So I think that has a lovely way of doing it. I have a couple other lines up my sleeves for this year that we might play with some other Gaelic names. I'll just tease you with that. I'm not going to tell you very much more, but so more to come. But that's sort of where Ola came from.
Incredible. Well, I hope to get to try these oils now very soon, and we hope to see them on shelves over in Ireland over the next couple of years, so everybody else can see the amazing creations that you're concocting up in your kitchen. The time is just about up now, Jules, but I think we could definitely have a second episode and go through a host more other things in the next couple of months. But for now, thank you very much for taking your time to do this.
Thanks for having me on. This was a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again and definitely getting Ola on the shelves over there. That would be amazing.
100% will help you with that, not a problem. For now, thank you very much.
Cheers.